Hello, lovely people. It's Leah, and today we are doing a question and answer video. I posted to Instagram that I wanted to do a Q&A, less about my work, more about my life, and you guys sent in some really good questions. It's been about 6, maybe 8 months since I did a Q&A. I did one right when I moved in, actually, and this room setup was completely different. I remember I shot it in front of my streaming setup, and I think, yeah, it was like right here. Like my computer was against that wall. My bookshelf that you're seeing here was like there, and then I was shooting like facing that way. But this is so much better. If you haven't seen my home decorating series, I will link that up in the cards for you. You can see how I set up my entire apartment room by room. And I have to say, I think The Office was one of my favorite videos. And if you haven't yet, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when a new video goes live. On this channel, you can find cosplay, conventions, home decor, and more. And let's get into the questions. Question number 1. What are your thoughts on marriage? Starting with a big one. Okay, well, if I had to describe my dream wedding, it would be at the Taco Bell on the Strip in Las Vegas. You think I'm joking? I am truly not. This literally was brought up at a dinner I had last week. Somebody mentioned it and I lost my mind. I was like, that is the dream. Going to the Taco Bell on the Strip and eloping. But honestly, like truly, I don't really see myself getting married. It's not something I'm necessarily really interested in, but if it does happen, because I never say never, it would definitely be an elopement situation. I think weddings are a waste of money. Sorry. And I don't really like being the center of attention, which I know is sort of a wild statement for me to make as I sit in my apartment talking to my camera about my life. What did you want to be when you were a kid? Well, actor is the obvious one. I think I've always wanted to be an actor, but there are definitely other dreams that sort of wove in there. I know like very young, veterinarian was one, but that was sort of just like a kid dream of like, oh, I love animals, but like the reality of being a veterinarian, absolutely not. I could never be a veterinarian. That's like too sad. And then another one, and this was like a true dream where I'm like, in another life, could have been my life. I wanted to be a video game designer, like a coder for video games specifically. And actually in college, I did do a computer science minor, but like it was so minor. Like it was really just like a small amount of information about coding. I never could actually like truly make something. But I think in another life, if like maybe I didn't get into theater when I was in middle school, I think that that could have been a realistic thing that happened in my life. I could have worked for Naughty Dog or Supermassive. Anyway, was there ever a point in your life where you made a big decision that changed your whole life path? Oh my God, these are all very existential questions. I love it. I asked for spicy, we got it. I mean, probably, yeah. I can't necessarily think of a specific moment, but this is something I think about a lot. Like when something good happens to me, I like to see how far back I can trace the decisions that led me to that great thing that like made me really happy. So yeah, I mean, like going back to the last question, when I was like 11, my mom put me and my friend in a theater class, and that's really what made me fall in love with wanting to be an actor. And maybe if she didn't do that, I would have been a video game designer. I feel like the college I went to was a huge decision that really shaped my future. Like that's where I met Kelly, a huge influence in not just my personal life, but my work life as well. That would have been a huge change in my life if we hadn't met. Choosing to go to London to study abroad was a huge decision. I met my friend Diana there, who I think had a big impact on my life. And moving to New York when I did. So, okay, so this is a story. When I moved to New York, I didn't have a job. I just figured like I would find a waitressing job somewhere and lie about my experience because I had only been a host up to that point. So I went to the closest Staples, printed out my resumes, and then I was going to go back to Williamsburg in Brooklyn and hand out resumes there. On the way back to the train, I saw a restaurant. I said, whatever, this wasn't that hard to get to, stopped in, gave them my resume, and they were like, oh, we're actually hiring if you want to come back and train like later today. And I was like, oh, okay, well that was easy. So I just went back home, got ready for my shift, came back, worked there. My second shift, Marissa Bertani was also training her first day. And yeah, so stopping into that restaurant, that definitely changed my life in a big way, I would say. So yes, I think is the answer to your question. How's your day going? Good, thank you. How's your day going? Pineapple on pizza. Do you like pineapple on pizza? I'm having a memory where I feel like this was asked in my last Q&A. And I don't know why people are so obsessed with pineapple on pizza. I've never had it. I don't have the desire. I'll let you know if that changes. What do you think about pro wrestling? Oh my gosh, as a matter of fact, I went to an AEW event recently. I'd never seen wrestling live before. It didn't get the hype, had a great time. It was awesome. What do I think about pro wrestling? Pro wrestling is violent drag. That's what it is. It's violent drag. If you think it's anything other than that, you're delusional. It's violent drag and it's amazing. End of story. Do you like the Rocky Horror Picture Show? I've never seen it. I've seen like parts of it, but that's it. Like one time I did go to one of those midnight showings where, you know, they do the Virgin Games at the beginning and then they have the performers in the front. I like had no idea what to expect. I went in completely blind. As a first time watcher, you can't really get a good feeling for the story that way. Like it's super fun, but people are screaming the whole time. So like I had no idea what was going on. And I was maybe 16 or something. No, I guess I must have been 17 because it's probably a rated R movie. Regardless, I had a curfew. So my friends and I had to leave before the movie ended. So that's my Rocky Horror experience. Ooh, here's someone who knows me. What is your favorite season of Survivor and who is your favorite contestant? Favorite season is Cagayan, season 28. Honestly, that season, it was so good it felt scripted. It felt like this is too good to be reality. This had to have been like someone's creative brain came up with this and these are actors, like season flawless. And that's not me saying I think that Survivor is scripted. I absolutely do not think Survivor is remotely scripted. I just think that these contestants and this casting was off the charts. Favorite player? Okay, I've got a list for sure, but the ones that always top it, I would say, are Suri. I just feel like her arc is incredible through like all the seasons she's played. And same thing with Tyson. I think Tyson's arc is literally insane, where he starts as like this kind of playboy in his first season, and then the last season we see him in, we get to like meet his wife and kids, and they're like the cutest little family. So yeah, those are the top two that come to mind. But favorite winner, Kim, definitely. Do you like the classics? King Kong, Vincent Price, Universal Monsters, black and white films need more love. Oh wait, that's not a film, that's a sentence. Black and white films need more love. No, I don't know, I haven't seen any of those movies. We see how much you love animals, so why don't you have any pets? Great question. I would love to have a pet. I'm not responsible. I have 3 plants. Actually, I have a sad story. Steven used to live up here. He's not doing so well at the moment. He is 2 leaves trying to sprout a 3rd leaf, living in a cup of water in my living room. I'm not a good plant mama. I don't want to take care of something harder than that right now. I always said if I buy a place, I would get a cat. I don't think I could handle a dog. I think I could handle a cat, but yeah, not until I own a place. I just think like when you're sort of, I don't want to call it nomadic because it's not that, but when you could like potentially be moving year after year, I just think having another living creature to account for makes it a little bit more difficult, and that's not something I want to deal with. But I love all my friends' fur babies. I love my nibblings, and that's enough for me. Top 5 favorite video games. I'll rattle them off quick in no particular order. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Kingdom Hearts 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last of Us, and like I kind of want to say The Last of Us 2. I kind of want to say Final Fantasy X. I kind of want to say Life is Strange. I kind of want to say Super Mario 64. That was more than 5, but yeah, the top 4 definitely. Scariest movie you've ever seen? Honestly, I want to say Creep because that movie feels like real. Like if someone was like, this is found footage, fully believe it. And I think movies like that, where they feel like genuinely this could happen, scare me the most. The first movie that totally freaked you out, Poltergeist. Oh my gosh. How are you today? I'm good, thank you. Oh my gosh, everyone's so nice. Favorite pastime hobby? What hobbies do you do? So I do consider cosplay a hobby, even though, I mean, I've promised I was gonna show it on this channel. We haven't done a ton of cosplay yet. We definitely will now that everything's all set up, but even though it is something I'm gonna share on YouTube, I do consider that a hobby. Also drawing. I've been drawing my whole life. That was the first like creative thing I ever got into. Now mostly I just draw on my iPad using the Procreate program. Digital art really got me back into it, because I hadn't been into it for a while. Reading I would consider a hobby. Rock climbing, singing, playing guitar. Yeah, I think that's it. What's your favorite music? Oh my gosh, I really do have the most eclectic taste of music. I usually say my favorite band is 9 Inch Nails, but I really do listen to everything. I'll say that like pop punk is my home base, but I listen to metal, I listen to K-pop, hip hop, rap, show tunes, literally everything. I do really love music. Werewolf or vampire? I don't really understand the beginning of the question, but werewolf or vampire? We'll go with vampire, always, 100% of the time. If a vampire came here and said they would turn me, I would say yes. Favorite Lord of the Rings character? Ooh, I actually reread those books recently. Oh man, it's hard. I gotta pick a top 5. Definitely Sam, always. I would say Pippin, Arwen, and Éowyn, because we love our badass ladies. And number 5, I don't know who would be in that 5th slot, because I do love those 4 so much. Maybe Gollum, actually. Gollum, yeah, my cutie. How do you feel about cowbell? Now, normally I keep identities a secret, but I'm blowing up your spot. This question was asked by Joe Palm Music, aka lead cowbell player of the Foes of Fern. I talk about this band a lot. It's my friend's band. I absolutely love them. If you are ever in the Asbury Park area, you should definitely check them out. If you like horns, they have a whole horn section. They have so many singers, great harmonies. They do covers and they do originals, and they're always a fun time. And Joe Palm, how do I feel about cowbell? I love cowbell. Keep being you. If you could bring back one musician to see them perform, who would it be? Ooh. I feel like this is a question you could ask me multiple times and I'll say something different every time, but the first thing that popped into my head this time was Freddie Mercury. I listened to a lot of Queen when I was younger, and I think like the theatrical feeling of their music would be really fun live. What's your favorite brand of cereal? I'm so basic. I freaking love Cheerios, plain and simple. Favorite concert experience you ever attended? Okay, let's give it a top 5. August D, 9 Inch Nails, Paul McCartney, Muse, and I don't know. That's definitely my top 4 though. I don't know, but I'm happy with that 4. What's the worst thing you can remember eating followed by the best? Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. Oh man, I am not a foodie. Not a foodie at all. I've been trying to eat vegan. I am a vegetarian, but I've been trying to go vegan, and I filmed a lot of like the food that I eat, and it's really just like the most boring shit put in a bowl together. Like, I don't know. It's so hard to think of even like one thing. Oh my gosh. Also, I'm sitting on my beanbag chair and I realized I've been just like slowly sinking down. There we go. So yeah, that's a hard question to answer. I remember when I was in Greece, we were staying at this place that had like a breakfast restaurant on the roof. Well, it was like a breakfast buffet on the roof, and oh my gosh, they had peaches and watermelon. That was the most delicious thing I've probably ever tasted in my life. And you're sitting on a rooftop in Athens, eating breakfast, like a delicious breakfast. Yeah, that was definitely one of the best, I would say. Worst though, I don't know. Everything tastes good to me. I've always been nervous to dye my hair green, but I love your green. Tell us about your dye journey. I started dyeing my hair in college. So I had, I think like a brown to salmon pink color ombre. I did a little purple, sort of like peekaboo before. I've done my tips rainbow color, but I was never honestly good at it until I discovered the ways of YouTube and finding people who are posting tutorials and stuff. So that was what made it easier for me and made me improve dyeing my hair, was watching professionals show you how to do it, which you really can find on YouTube. So I found a method that works for me, especially with the bleaching process. There's really only like one product I'll buy now because it works on me. I think it's the L'Oreal Quick Blue powder and then the L'Oreal 30 volume developer is what I use. And it's just like, it works. It's never messed up on me. So that's what I'm gonna keep using. And then for color brands that I like, Punky Color, Arctic Fox, and Unicorn Hair are the 3 that I feel work. What I have in my hair now is unicorn hair that I did yesterday. So it's very vibrant. And honestly, like if you have healthy hair and you know, you're really not worried about the outcome and you're willing to, you know, experiment and play around with it, go for it. Worst comes to worst, you shave it off. If you were to play any superhero you wanted, who would it be? Someone in the X-Men for sure. Maybe Rogue. Yeah, I think Rogue. Also, because she's a little blurry. Is she a hero? Is she a villain? I think all the X-Men are blurry, which brings me to my next question. If you could pick between dating a superhero or a supervillain, who would you choose? Well, I think in some series that is a little blurry, and I think X-Men, which is one of my favorite superhero stories. Is Magneto a bad guy? I don't know. I'm not necessarily convinced that he's a bad guy, but he's one of my favorites. Magneto, because he's Jewish and I always relate to Jewish heroes. Yeah, Magneto's a hero. I said it. Favorite ice cream flavor. Ooh, okay. I don't know my favorite flavor. Maybe coffee flavored caramel. I like those. But I was always a really big Ben & Jerry's fan because they have like the really interesting flavors with like so many things packed in. But I recently found a new brand that's vegan that's very similar. I have one in the freezer that's salted fudge, peanut butter, like it's a whole lot of stuff. Where is one place you would love to travel to or settle down in? New Zealand. I want to travel to New Zealand more than anything. I really also want to go to Guatemala and Costa Rica. And where I'd settle down, I don't know. Vegas is the closest I've ever felt to, oh, I could live here for like my life, but we'll see. I like experiencing a lot of new places. Where is your next big non-work trip going to be to? I am going on a cruise fairly soon, so that's gonna be fun. I've never been on a cruise before, but typically when I travel, I'm a little bit more bare bones. Like when I took my Thailand, Colombia, Peru trips, I really just booked my flight there and my first night in the hostel, and then I just planned it day by day. That's my ideal way to travel. So I'm not really planning anything right now because I don't usually plan stuff like that. It usually just happens. I'm like, oh, in 2 weeks, I'd love to travel somewhere. So maybe I would love to take a trip by the end of the year. I think that would be nice. Maybe like a 2-week one. Normally I'm like super extra and go for like a month or 6 weeks or something, but maybe like a 2-week Costa Rica trip could be fun soon. And coffee or tea? I would say I am more of a coffee drinker in the warmer months and more of a tea drinker in the colder months, but in general, tea. Absolutely love tea. I have so many different kinds of tea. Coffee is more like utility. Tea is enjoyment. And that was the last question. Thank you all so much for your great questions. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned a little bit more about me and my life outside of my job. I had fun talking about myself for 28 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm sure the video is a little shorter than that, but that is what the camera's saying now. Anyway, I will be back Thursday with a new video. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 난 겨울. Yeah, 가요 coldplay. Yeah, 너와 있을 때 I swear. 제가 먼저 zero. 폭설한 그 chill day.